Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners for Tuesday, July 9th, 2019. Tonight's meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. and immediately moved into executive session. We'll now resume the public session. I'd like to ask for a motion to resume public session.
So moved.
Mr. Laurie, and a second. Mr. Roach, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, wonderful. Okay, so the first order of business tonight is going to be the approval of the minutes. The board has received and reviewed the minutes prepared by our secretary and will move to approve them. They are for the date of June 18, 2018 regular meeting minutes. I would make that motion to approve those minutes and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Laurie, let's poll the board, if you would.
Commissioner Rabin?
Aye.
Commissioner Winter?
Abstain.
Commissioner Laurie?
Aye.
Commissioner Roach?
Aye.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Our next item will be the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Tonight we're looking at the budget through the financials through June 30th of 2019. They currently present a net budget surplus of approximately $620,000. This is again just due to timing issues, some certs, the timing of our payroll, as well as our overtime has up till now, as we're going into the summer, it has remained relatively steady. And certain expenses are trending lower than expected, most notably our professional consultant fees. Obviously, we'll continue to monitor this as the months go along. There's no need for budget transfers at this point in time. As far as Treasury Direct, which we were talking about quite a bit last month, so we now have invested the full $12 million that we talked about in the 4-week Treasury bills. We made them in tranches of the $3 million. The last purchase date was 6/18/19, and so they continue now to reinvest per the schedule. The interest rates are fluctuating, but remaining, above between, 2.14, 2.3, so still much better rates. We're making interest at about $5,000 per week now as the amounts are reinvesting. So it is a significant increase in interest to what we were typically getting. I did prepare a schedule looking at what our anticipated expenses are throughout the rest of the year and when we might need to make some changes to the investments. So I would say what it looks like is that as we get to September, about like the second week of September, we'll likely stop one of the $3 million investments, and then we can keep the other $9 million in, and we can keep that in until about mid of November, at which point we'll probably take another $3 million out. November is typically our highest expense month. That's when the pension bill gets paid, and then we know we'll have another holiday pay in December. So that's how it's tracking. So we will be able to keep in at least $6 or $7 million through the end of the year, assuming no other large unanticipated expenses. So that's what we're looking at. It also might be possible within there to do like a one-off $2 million investment. As we stop one of the $3 million, we might be able to get a little bit more in. So I'll continue to monitor that as we go. But for right now, the $12 million is continuing to roll over, and we are getting interest now on a weekly basis. It's all working very smoothly, and it's easy to monitor. So that's the plan there, unless there's any other suggestions for the board. And other than that, we're coming up on August, and so it's time to start working on the budget. So I've already just started looking at sort of preliminary numbers of anywhere we know that it's going to be different, either higher or lower than what we had expected for this year. Some of the items that are more like under my control or whatnot. The chief and I plan to sit down in August to talk about wish list of items, what we think might be happening next year, where we maybe need more room, and also looking at what we can anticipate based on last year as our potential ability to increase without exceeding the tax cap. So I've started putting all that together, very high level. Obviously, input is welcome from all members of the board, and to the extent if you want to do a working session this year, if that's something you're interested in, that might be something we want to put on the calendar. And otherwise, that's it.
All right, thank you. That's a good suggestion. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, Jim.
All right, we'll move on now to the payment of the bills. The board has reviewed this month's bills and warrants and makes a motion to pay them. The first warrant is dated June 28th, 2019, totaling where are we at here? $627.85. The second warrant dated July 9, 2019, totals $85,010.32. The last is a credit card bill dated July 18, 2019, totaling $1,889.03. The grand total for this is $87,527.20. I'd make that motion and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Roach, and then we can have discussion for sure.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, there's one bill in here related to out-of-state training, and I think we need to form a policy that it's not automatic to grant out-of-state training to firefighters. Firefighters do go out-of-state training for FEMA runs, now Homeland Security, right? Homeland Security runs out-of-state training, but we don't have to pay for any of it, and they fund every part of it. But we have a bill here for out-of-state training for a seminar, and I just don't think we should be doing that in the future without pre-approval. It kind of, we found about it late in the game. The other thing is, I don't think we should have any volunteer training unless we know pre-approved without us knowing in advance, because there's just nothing.
Right, we're working towards some kind of pre-approval policy amongst the board. The chief, I think, is a decent suggestion. I think we can talk about that moving forward, especially through the summer and into the fall, and institute something. We can talk about it. Yeah, I think it's fair. Yes, we are paying these bills as are for today and look to the future to revise some of our policies. So, Lisa, would you poll the board, please?
Chairman Raven.
Aye.
Commissioner Winter.
Aye.
Commissioner Laurie.
Aye.
Commissioner Roach.
Aye.
Commissioner Carlo.
Aye.
There's three. Where's the
All
other
right,
one?
thank you. We'll move on now to the chief's report.
Thank you, Commissioner. June 19th monthly activity report, 320 total alarms for the month, 8 fire-related, 192 rescue or EMS-related. We gave mutual aid to the city of Mount Vernon one time, and we received mutual aid from the city of New Rochelle one time at the house fire we had at Columbus Circle in June. The installation work for the light path tie lines continues. The Altice light path fiber optic cables to 60 control have been completed and were activated today due to trouble with the Verizon tie line for the UHF radio. It had been out for about 4 or 5 days and waiting for Verizon. Our vendor ESS just decided to cut us onto the new fiber optic cables to 60 control for both our VHF and our UHF radios today. So that part of the equipment is up and running. We have more infrastructure that's being done tomorrow at the receiver location on Garth Road. That fiber optic cable is being run tomorrow. They anticipate it'll be done within a few weeks. So we should have all the receivers up and running within a few weeks.
And no glitches.
There was, it's working, yes. So yeah, initially we had to do a little bit of testing, but once they were completed testing, it's been working. So since about lunchtime today or 1 o'clock today, they've been on to the new fiber optic cable. And as far as I know, there haven't been any glitches.
And we're never going back to the tie lines.
We're going to start disconnecting them from Verizon as soon as we're sure that everything's working properly. So hopefully by next month's meeting, we'll start disconnecting the Verizon tie lines so we don't have to pay for them anymore, and we'll be running on the Optimum Light Path tie lines, hopefully by next month.
Great job, Chief.
So, thanks. So at this time, I asked the board for approval to use the department credit card to purchase the 5 Cisco switches. The best price I found was $398.69 each. We need 5 of them. It's a Cisco SG250-26 HP smart switch. So it's a total of $1,993.45. They're required for connectivity to the new tie lines. Initially, they were in the ESS bid or proposal, and Commissioner Winter pointed out that we could probably find them cheaper elsewhere, so we went on Amazon, and so we did find them $200 cheaper a piece, so $1,000 savings for that. So I asked permission to use the company credit card because anything over $1,000, I need pre-approval to purchase, so.
We'll move on to that time after your report.
Okay. Vehicle maintenance continues through the use of outside vendors. The new engines are having the new radios installed at Firematic Supply, the dealership where we bought them from. Maintenance mechanic Tim Dalton has been busy with several projects, and the surplus apparatus are being placed on an auction website, hopefully over the next few weeks. Fire prevention and code enforcement activities continue with numerous plan reviews and inspections, and on Saturday, this coming Saturday, July 13th, we'll have apparatus with a lieutenant and a firefighter at the Tuckahoe Fireworks display at Parkway Oval. What happens is, depending on which way the wind is blowing, the embers can blow into the woods next to the consulate apartment, so we always have a unit there on standby to make sure everything's safe. Currently, there are 2 members out on long-term absence, and one of them is returning to full duty tomorrow. At that point, we'll have 1 member on light duty or restricted duty and 1 member out on long-term potential injury duty. It's still undecided at this point. Chairman Rabin, Commissioner Roach, and myself attended the Eastchester Planning Board meeting, and I brought to the Planning Board's attention several concerns regarding the property that's next to fire headquarters on Main Street. And as of July 1st, 2019, this current month, the new fire department physician of White Plains Urgent Care has taken over the department's medical needs.
Great. Thank you, Chief. I actually have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
One is, to the best of your knowledge, in the front office, were the medical records from the previous doctor sent over to the new doctor?
So the only records he has are the annual respiratory questionnaires that we do for our OSHA or PESH respiratory requirements. Everything else he's had and that he made any medical notes on, he has sent to me as we go along during the course of a year. So all the questionnaires that he has, he's going to put on a thumb drive and he's going to give me that, and then he's just going to delete all his copies of it. So I will be getting those records from Dr. Reddy.
Okay, wonderful, that's good. Okay, so 2 things. One, just to your point also, and like you said, Commissioner Roach, myself and you attended this meeting. You did voice a number of the districts and the board's concerns, and also for the board to be aware, they did announce that they're going to have a second public hearing in September. So at that time, they're supposed to have an updated plan, an updated schematics, what have you. If anybody feels at that time they would like to go as well, we were lucky enough it was the first item that night, so we were out there pretty quick. And all of the engineers, bless you, all the engineers and architects and owner was there that day. And they have indicated that the electrical lines outside the building don't seem to be a problem if they're going to be moved or buried underground, so we'll see if that comes to fruition. All right, so I would definitely be happy to make a motion to permit the chief to use the district credit card to purchase the Cisco SG250-26 HP smart switches. The total cost is $1,993.45, and I would ask for a second. Mr. Laurie, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner.
One more late flying item that you did mention in your report as well. I would make a motion to permit the chief to exercise his best discretion and execute a contract between the Fire District and Auctions International, Inc., located at 11167 Big Tree Road, East Aurora, New York, 14052, to be our partner in helping us auction off some of this surplus equipment and rigs that we have in the back of our headquarters. I would ask for a second for that.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, wonderful.
Should the chief reach out to that fire department that lost its rigs and see if they have a desire to buy one direct from us?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Or even we could donate it to them.
Or don't, right.
They may not need it, and they had their firehouse burnt up, and they lost, it looks like a couple of rigs.
Yeah. I think we were talking about the green one, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
what
chief
you-
thought maybe 30 might be more appropriate.
Would they be worth donating?
Oh, 31.
So the green 1991 Pierce, we only used on an occasional basis. It was the reserve engine. So it probably only went in service, maybe 4 or 5 days a month for the last 10 years. I don't know that it would be a front line. I don't know how busy this department is, but I don't know that it would be a daily driver rig. They may have a lot of mechanical problems if it's driven every day and used a lot. The American LaFrancis, however, were used every single day and, had normal maintenance issues. But I would think if they need one, old engine 31, which is one of the apparatus that we were going to surplus, I don't know, loan it to them or sell it to them at a reduced rate or
Why
something.
don't you just make first contact with them and see if they're even
See if I
interested?
can.
There could be other just
they
as
may have
generous
had other
boards, if
offers.
not even more generous boards that are out there giving them a lot more. So maybe it would be good to make that contact. That'd be great.
These aren't high-value
Right.
items. They don't trade for anything.
That's all right. Nothing is worth more than free, so, potentially, so I'll take it. All right, so that's the chief's report. Chester Heights, just real quickly, we got an email confirming from BJB that they believe they've completed the punch list for the exterior renovation and all the errors and issues that were found once they were done. We are waiting our engineers to potentially make sure that that is valid, and then we'll move on from there. As far as UES, our engineers that are taking care of the interior of Chester Heights, they have received the contract that was executed on our end. We are just waiting to finalize that, and we should be going into the next phase. Okay, so local 916, anything? No? Commissioner reports, anything to
got a
say?
few things.
All right, Mr. Laurie.
Just want to say thank you to the board for loaning us the maintenance truck for the Mamaroneck Day Parade, and the hose cart went over big, being pulled by that. Right in front of us was New Hyde Park, Long Island, and they had some beautiful rigs there, all in white. Sorry we couldn't bring our new rigs. That would have been a nice public relations if we would have probably had the newest rigs there. Also, I think there's, from what I gathered, Epstein's is selling out, and it's going to be a school, nursery school, or something to do with children. The problem what I was watching the planning board, they didn't mention it, but there's also a nursery school in the village hall. And if you go through there around 8 o'clock in the morning or around 3:30 in the afternoon, there's a high volume of traffic. I was getting concerned in case our rig has to go out down Underhill Street, and if that school does come about in Epstein's, we're going to have another big problem, because drop off and pick up over there right on Columbus Avenue on the corner of Underhill and Columbus. And right now, I see it many mornings when I'm driving, and Underhill Street gets pretty well jammed up. And we're going to have a problem if that other school opens up while the nursery school on Underhill Street opens at the same time, if our rigs have to go out. So maybe, Chief, you could look into that. And I know the planning board, they were discussing it, and I saw it, but they didn't mention nothing about the rigs coming out when there's traffic and all that. We're going to have a problem if both of them are opening at the same time and dismissing at the same time. There's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, traffic in this town, at Christmas time, up in the north end, it's a nightmare.
I'm well
getting
aware of
north
it.
and south on a post road.
If you ever see the traffic in front of Stop and Shop on a Saturday afternoon, is really, really unbelievable, Yep. And also in the month of June, we gave out some scholarships, and 2 of our volunteer grandchildren received them, and 4 of our paid personnel received them also. So I just want to say congratulations to them, those students. There was 1 student from Bronxville, 1 from Tuckahoe, I think 2 from Eastchester. Just want to congratulate them. They were well received from them, and also the VFW gave them out to 1 student from Eastchester, Tuckahoe, and Bronxville, well-qualified students that are going to receive them, that received them. So good luck to all of them.
Thank you, Mr. Laurie. Mr. Roach, anything?
No.
I would like to make a comment. Lieutenant Kevin Grogan retired in June, and Kevin was an outstanding lieutenant for years, firefighter for years. He did about 30 years, 32 years.
Yeah, I think, yep.
He did about as many, his brother probably beat him by a few more years, but he did quite a number of years. And You always know when someone's an excellent firefighter when you never hear their names in any meetings. As far as, when we're talking about personnel in executive session, his name never came up as a problem child. He was always excellent, a great firefighter, a great guy, and a true asset to the department, and I wish him well in his retirement. The Grogans have always been outstanding players for the fire district. And that's my one comment. I would hope the department replaces that position as quickly as possible and promotes into the lieutenant spot whoever desires to go, who we get to go, but hopefully we do that fairly quickly. And another comment I have, and it's just living in Westchester County and New York and our taxes. Our sales tax is going to go up from 7 3/8 to 8 3/8, I think. Everybody said, well, that's only 1%. No, that's 14%. So it's like 13.5%, that change, 1% over 7%. So, we just constantly getting hammered on the tax side. There's not much we can do about it, but, these are not 1% tax increases. When something goes from up 100 basis points and it started at 7, it's not 1% increase. So, it's a 14% increase from what you're going to pay if you buy something. And so it just makes it more and more painful to live in Westchester County and to operate in Westchester County. And just what happens, we see it nonstop to our tax base.
All right, Mr. Carlo, I'm good? All right, I am good as well. So I would make a motion for us to adjourn an executive session for a personnel matter and would ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Roach, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, thank you so much. Have a great night, have a great rest of your summer.